And we wanted to talk a little bit about the emergence of the mindful leader and everything that comes with that. And so what does that mean for you, Drayton, and what does that mean for your clients as you talk about this topic?
It's interesting. So I've got my book here, and this book that I use, it's got all my client notes, etc. It's worth a lot of money if I open this up and show you. I'm kidding. In every instance over the last 3 weeks, I write at this because I make pre-conversation notes. And in every instance, I've put at the top of the starting of the conversation, it's important words that I want to make sure that we get out front and center when we have our conversations. It's vulnerability, transparency, and authenticity. And I think of a mindful leader, back to what we were talking about, is living in the present moment. I think all these three things in particular embody that and personify it in these leaders. If you're going to be a mindful leader and you're showing up in the present moment and being of service, we talk about that extensively. Of the mindful leader shows up to be of service. It's not about our ego. It's not about us. It's not about our agenda. It's about being of service. And these three things, vulnerability, transparency, and authenticity, are just cornerstones of those things. And I think, we touched on the fear piece before. This vulnerability piece is so important now for folks, in that to offer up and become real. When I was coming through the corporate ranks, we literally were expected to be 10 feet tall and bulletproof. We had all the answers, and we had to be, above reproach, and we had to, have this certain air about us that we were infallible because we were leaders. Again, it comes from that military corporate structure thing, that's just the way it worked when I came up through the ranks. And now it's a different world, and the people don't relate to leaders that are like that. In fact, they flee from leaders that are like that, the old autocratic command and control and, orders cascade down from above. They want real people. And if you look at the data that's out there in terms of the most successful CEOs, there's been wonderful studies done on this based on stock price and, return to shareholders. The best CEOs are the ones that are the real people. They view them as kind of, that humble guy next door type thing, that you'd be a friend with, that's vulnerable, that's self-deprecating, that's super authentic, and what you see is what you get. And so working with our leaders now in terms of, it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable. It takes a lot of courage when we're talking about fear to say, I'm afraid. It takes a lot of courage to say, I don't know. And that's all part of this vulnerability piece, and that you have to just be real with folks, especially during times like we're going through. And you can't feed them a line of corporate crap. You feed them a line of corporate crap, you're going to lose all credibility with these folks going forward. When the job market comes back, your good people are going to leave because they see right through that. Yeah. And people today don't expect you to have all of the answers, and they don't expect you to be, they expect you to be above reproach, because you should have those values. You should have integrity. And that's hopefully why you got to the position you did. But they don't think that you don't have problems, and they know that you're real. And we just have to admit that. That's, don't pretend that you don't have any problems. Don't pretend that you have all the answers. Just give me the straight truth. And in times like this, one of the most important things from position leadership is to tell people the truth, no matter what it is. If it's bad news, then tell them the bad news. And then rally them around this is how we're going to address it collectively. But do not feed them a lot of crap. Be authentic, be vulnerable, be completely transparent with people. And because a lot of people now are, we hear from a lot of folks, like, we're hearing from all our people that they're worried the company's going to be around. I mean, that's a big fear for a lot, even big companies that may not make it and probably won't make it through the next few months. And so what do you do with that? Well, you better be real with your people.
Yeah.
And you better circle the wagons and figure out how you can do something about it too. But first off, you have to be real with your folks, because it's kind of like, we underestimate our children and our pets in many ways. It's like, okay, you're talking this way and your kid's getting something that's, way above what you're talking to them about. So we don't want to underestimate anybody, and don't assume that you know more than others, because a lot of people see right through you.
Yeah, I think the phrase that we love to use, which is so relevant right now, is head and heart leadership.
Yeah.
And making sure that when you're having conversations, when you're making decisions, when you're, again, just moving through your day, you're operating with both of those in mind, and not just operating from that head space, but you're incorporating that heart piece too. And I think that will get you to that, authentic, transparent, and vulnerable place.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is such an important thing for leaders to think about. And really, when you distill this down, that may be the metamorphosis that's happening. We've gone from this militaristic corporate structure, and it's autocratic, and it's very head dominant in terms of, metrics and all the math and all the strategy and all these kind of clinical things. And now coming out this side of it, it's the heart piece, in terms of, can we reach people in that heartfelt place right now and lead them out of this with a heart-based leadership bias that is new and different. I think that kind of says it all.
Maybe it's a great place for us to end the conversation then.
Let's do so.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for the chat. I hope everyone else enjoys our conversation, and let's do this more. Let's have more of these conversations. I think they're really important throughout this process. So I hope you continue to be safe and well, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.